When I stepped back on Celebrity Cruises where I am now, it had been 2.5 years since my last trip on Equinox in the Caribbean, and they had, I knew, changed a lot since then. But as I found out here, much more than I'd realized, and it significantly changed the way I think about Celebrity Cruises. And I want to talk about why and how, because it may change your thoughts about cruising with them too, or certainly how you go cruising with them. Now, if you're new here, I'm Gary Bembridge, and I'm here to make it fun and easy to discover, plan, and enjoy unforgettable cruise vacations. Last time I was on Celebrity, I cruised in a balcony cabin, and on this trip on Celebrity Silhouette, I booked a suite as a splash-out treat. My next booking is actually on an Aqua Class cabin on Edge, as I've been recommended to try that particular category by fans of the line. So I probably should not have been as thrown by all of this as I was, but since my last trip, Celebrity have definitely ramped up on this area. Now, quite a few followers of my channel say they are not fans of Cunard. Why? Because it's very class driven, and they object to that because they create a feeling of kind of better and worse passengers. You know, Cunard have Queen's Grill, Princess Grill, and Britannia Grill, but nobody has ever said the same thing about Celebrity to me, which, as my bookings show, also has 3 distinct classes, but it doesn't seem to cause the same angst. And certainly on this trip, I think I've worked out why. First of all, let me quickly explain the 3 classes that are here on Celebrity. Well, first, there is the retreat class. So travelers in suites on Celebrity, which they now are calling the retreat, or kind of the retreat experience, I found you don't only have bigger cabins, of course, but you've got a butler, which is called now a personal retreat host. You have your own dining room called the Lumini. It's got its own separate kitchen. You've got a retreat lounge that's open 24 hours a day. It serves drinks, snacks, afternoon tea, and that's hosted by 2 retreat concierges. And then there's a very large access-controlled outdoor retreat, which on Silhouette here is over 2 decks, which again also serves treats, lunch, and drinks. Now, Celebrity also has Aqua Class. Now, these passengers have their own restaurant too. It's called Blue, and that is a focus more on healthy dining options. There you get free access to the thermal suite activities in the spa, and you get other kind of wellness in-room goodies. Then you've got kind of the regular traveler, which makes up most of the ship, and they stay in cabins ranging from inside through to balcony, and they dine in the main dining room. So why does this 3-class system not seem to create the same tension and angst as it does about Cunard? Now, that's because, in my view, the overall experience, the ship, the product, the service, and the food is actually now of a standard that everybody feels they're traveling in luxury, and there's not some kind of suspicion that people are being offered something that's kind of second class. And the recent changes made, I think, reinforce all of that. So in addition to the new kind of modern, very luxurious Edge class ships, since my last trip on Celebrity, they've been working through and upgrading their older Millennium and Solstice class ships, and Silhouette that I'm on right now has had that revamp. So this whole Solstice class ship feels so much more plush, stylish, and much more quality than before. It's not that I didn't like it before, but everything now just feels much more classy. They've used designers like Kelly Hoppen, who I know pretty well. There's a whole bunch of others I've not heard of, but they all seem to have been told to make things look and feel better and more luxurious. And it feels much more like you're staying at a really smart upmarket hotel. Food as well, I think, has absolutely been improved. They've now got a partnership with the Michelin star chef called Daniel Boulond, and they tell you that frequently. Every time there's boards around the ship, his name's on the menu. Now, I've not heard of him, but it sounds like he's pretty well known in the US. But clearly, he's been working to elevate the food, and everything, including the food in the Ocean View Cafe Buffet, I think is better than I certainly remember. Now, the upside is if you want to save money, I think the Spécié dining has much less of a reason to go to now, except perhaps Sushi on 5 or Raw on 5, as it's called in the Edge class, because you can't get that in the restaurants. Now, one issue I also had with Celebrity before this revamp is I felt that the outside decks on Solstice class definitely were pretty substandard and had lots of wasted space, but they've now got much nicer places to sit, to laze about, and they vary from like the lawn club, but there's new spaces at the rear of the ship. There's lots of varied and interested places to sit around the pool and all around the decks. Now in the Edge class, this is absolutely much better. They've got the beautiful rooftop terrace areas, kind of outdoor bars, and kind of elevated that whole thing. But the big upgrade that really counts is in the cabins. These are so much nicer, and using that word I used earlier, so much plusher. Even the linen and the towels seem much better. So I think this kind of overall shift to make the whole ship experience shift kind of a little bit more upmarket, a bit more luxury kind of as a base, could be why passengers are getting much less uptight about the class system that's here on Celebrity. And maybe they're less obvious and overt about it too, although you do hear lots about the retreat everywhere. That shift to spend on the upgrades, the food, of course, all comes at a price. And here's another key change that I do want to talk about. And this is where, when I asked followers of my channel if they would consider Celebrity, many people raised this one as a big issue. And that is around fares. One really big change from my last Celebrity cruise is the fares. They've shifted to a much more all-inclusive fare, which they call Always Included. Now, as a base, the fare now has 3 key inclusions: Wi-Fi for one device, classics drink package, and gratuities. You can then upgrade to higher levels of inclusions, and if you go in the retreat, the suites, the fare has the highest of those, which has got faster Wi-Fi, premium drinks package, gratuities, and a really big slug of onboard credit. Now, it's kind of hard to do a very detailed comparison because so much has happened in cruising, including the shutdown. But my conclusion is that the fares have edged up a bit more than just those inclusions. I feel they've gone up even more than that. But even if I'm not totally right in my comparisons, when I look and compare to other premium lines that have also followed this more all-inclusive approach, like Holland America and Princess, and even the new entrant Virgin Voyages, Celebrity fares generally seem higher on similar itineraries. Of course, the question is, though, do you get value for money on Celebrity? I decided with the new elevated product, certainly on this cruise, the answer to that is probably yes. But I'm not a very frequent Celebrity traveler, as you've heard, so I started to ask people on the cruise who are, and the most common answer I got was, you can see where the money is going. So I think that is as close to a yes, this is good value, as you can probably get. But definitely, as I've been planning my future cruises, Celebrity like-for-like cruise itineraries seem to cost a bit more than on similar lines. But I do think these upgrades have made it worth it. Probably telling is I've actually already booked my next cruise, as I mentioned earlier, kind of based on this one. However, other than costing more probably, and improved luxury feel and quality, what about the people it's attracting and the cruise experience and the entertainment itself? Is that different, and has that changed too based on my past experiences? Now, in the premium category, I think you can rank the lines from traditional and classic through to very modern and contemporary. So based on that, I would rank them as Cunard on one end, very traditional, very classical, then Holland America, then Princess, then Celebrity, and then the new premium entrant Virgin Voyages is the most kind of modern and contemporary. Celebrity's cruise format, the entertainment and the daily program, I still found it to be extremely traditional. It's got the usual trivia, enrichment talks, lots of shopping, movies kind of under the stars, production Las Vegas review shows, guest singers, guest magicians, live music in the bars, and so on. It's basically the same as on the other established premium lines. It's really not that different at all to previously either. The shows on Edge class are bigger and more glitzy, even more out there, but the overall kind of daily program is the same. So on this cruise anyway, they're definitely still attracting travelers seeking a more classic cruise experience. But I would say with the move to more modern decor and the new Edge class ships, they do seem to be attracting a slightly, but not dramatically, younger crowd than on the more traditional, say, Cunard, Holland America, and even Princess. I do see a shift there. There definitely seems to be more families appearing, 30-something couples without kids, lots of gay couples. The line is really promoting its diversity credentials, and that seems to be showing up in the passenger mix. Now, as someone in my early 60s, I would say I was very comfortably within the average age, but it felt a different mix and overall a more kind of youthful attitude crowd, if you like, to my recent cruises on those other premium lines for sure. Solo travelers, I would say, are still fairly underrepresented in my view on Celebrity, but they do seem to be moving a bit on that. So Silhouette here has got 4 inside solo cabins. The other Millennium and Solstice class, I believe, don't have any solo cabins, But the new ships have got more options. I think Edge has 8 when I looked at it, Apex has 24, and it seems that Beyond is going to have 32 solar cabins, including ones with balconies, those infinite balconies. So it's still fairly limiting for solo travelers. Surcharges are high. So the shift in Celebrity, it was much more marked than I'd expected to be. Kind of the ramp up of the different classes, especially the Retreat Suites class, pulling the line much more luxurious. I felt it's differentiated to the other premium lines, but still it's mostly a 40s, 50s, 60s audience, I suspect. But of course, time will tell, but consider that. Now, to find out more about how to make the most of a cruise on Celebrity, take a look at this short playlist where I start with a really big watch out and something to avoid. So see you over there.